Today we're talking about all things exterior, materials, durability and colour. I'm Lucy.
And I'm Jonno.
And this is Reno Goals. We bought our dream home away from the city.
I'm so excited.
But it is not our dream home yet.
It will be great, but until it's great,
it's crap.
So far, we've renovated the bedroom, the bathroom, the loft, which Jonno happens to hate.
I do not like it at all.
Then we found out we were having a baby.
How fun.
So we fixed the living room, the dining room, and the nursery.
Doing everything backwards around here, aren't we?
To welcome our child into the world, we ripped up our floorboards because clearly we're insane. We re-stumped the house, replaced the floorboards, gave our kitchen the makeover it deserved. Then we finished the laundry. Just kidding, we're still going. We need help.
Whew.
Found out we were having another baby.
how long is that going to take?
So we decided to stop ripping apart our interiors for now to instead focus on the exterior. So we built a shed instead. And if you're wondering, the outside of our home is still a disaster.
Whoa.
But we're working on changing all that.
I'll get to that in a minute. Just let me get out of here first.
We are building a shed, and not just any shed.
The dream shed.
We're going to make this shed work over time. Yes, it needs to be all about storage in order to house all of Jonno's toys, but we also want it to be a place that we can work from, and of course, it needs to look beautiful. So today I'm going to talk you through everything that we did to design the shed, from choosing the materials, the colours, and also give you a little bit of insight into the future plans for our cabin. I'm very much an interior designer, but when it comes to exterior design, this is not my first rodeo. The first thing that I consider with any design project, especially with an exterior project, is location. It's a great way to source inspiration, and it also gives you cues on what materials and colours are going to be right for you. I'll give you an example. On our last project, which was a beach house in Lorne, we chose Colorbond steel in wind spray for the roofing, and then we had a combination of weatherboards and Colorbond steel for the wall cladding. A few reasons for why we did that. Firstly, it was an extension of an existing weatherboard house, so we wanted to maintain consistency. Two, the colours and materials were chosen to reflect the location, specifically that coastal environment and the neighbouring properties. The colour wind spray is exactly as it sounds. Think ocean mist, sea spray, perfect for a beach location. Thirdly, we needed to adhere to council regulations that were specific to the area. And lastly, the coastal but slightly protected position of the home meant that weatherboards were a really good option. But because I chose weatherboards, it meant that I also needed to choose paint colours that would work with the Colorbond steel. But for this shed, we are not going to have any paint on the exterior. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. Firstly, I don't want to have to paint it. Never again. I want that on the record. But the main reason for that is our location and where our house is situated. We live along the coast in Victoria on the Great Ocean Road, and our home sits on a hill that overlooks the ocean, which means epic views, yes, but it also means epic weather. We get some extreme conditions here, from searing hot temperatures to horizontal pelting rain to hardcore winds. So when it came to designing the shed, we needed it to be as robust as possible. So we chose Colorbond steel, and not just for the roof, but also for the walls, the flashings and the gutters. Our design also includes a featured timber element that is west facing, and this is the side of the shed that directly faces onto our house. So this will be slightly protected with a 2-metre overhang and will be the same timber cladding that we use for our main cabin. More on that design in another video. It is quite a large shed. Jonno calls it the big shed. It's 17 by 10 metres, and it's also quite tall, as we've made it 4.8 metres to the gutters, and with a 30-degree pitch, it's 7.8 metres at its highest point. Having such a big shed means that it's such a large surface area, so the material selection was a pretty big decision. The reason we chose Colorbond steel is not only because we've used it before and we were really happy with it, but mainly because of its longevity. Colorbond steel is tried and tested in Australian conditions. It features 5 layers of protection designed to endure harsh Australian conditions and for long-lasting durability. It's a high-quality steel that's coated with enhanced corrosion resistance Activate technology, and then to add to that, it also has a pre-treatment primer and a baked-on top coat. So basically, it's strong. It's also really easy to maintain. I'm hoping we don't actually have to do much maintenance, if I'm honest, but if we do or need to clean it, it just needs fresh, clean water. Now, colour. I must admit, this was a pretty big decision considering the colour was actually going to occupy over 500 square metres, so a very dominant surface area. And to make my life harder, I had not 1, not 2, but 22 colours to choose from. So these are the Colorbond steel colours inspired by Australia. And you can tell they're inspired by Australia by some of their product names. I mean, you have pale eucalypt, blue gum, paper bark, wind spray, they're just beautiful. And because I was leaning really heavily on my environment for inspiration, I found that these Colorbond steel colours were a really great place to start. Our location has a lot of beautiful elements to it. There are the nearby cliffs with the most beautiful amalgamation of colours. Blues, charcoals, grey, green, rusty red veins that run through the cliff, ambers and earthy browns. Then we have the ocean and the waves that are a big inspiration. It's pretty much why we moved here, with the stacked swell lines to the horizon and the colour of the ocean ever changing. And then we're just surrounded by greenery of all different kinds, from the rolling green paddocks to the washed grey green of the gum trees. So with all that in mind and with these colours to choose from, let me show you my shortlist. So we have blue gum, monument, woodland grey, wallaby and gully. Okay, so this was my shortlist that I chose from choosing colours from the Colorbond Steel swatch book. This is a really great resource, and I also had a flick through these Colorbond Steel brochures as well for inspiration. Okay, so let's break down why I selected these colours. To start with, blue gum. As the name suggests, it is inspired by blue gums, for which we are surrounded by, and it has a really calm blue undertone. I really wanted to see this colour in context, and it is quite light, especially in comparison to some of the other colours that I chose. I really wanted to get a sample of monument because this is a very popular colour. I see this everywhere, if I'm honest with you, especially in modern homes, and I wanted to see it in context, but with all these laid out, and given that we've got such a large surface area, I thought that the heaviness and the robustness of this colour was perhaps a bit strong for what we were going for. So I did rule out monument. And for the same reason, but on the opposite scale, I also think blue gum is going to be a little bit too light for what we're trying to achieve with this shed. So that leaves us with woodland grey, wallaby and gully. So what I really loved about these 3 colours, with woodland grey, I found this to be really interesting in its colour. It adapts really well to the environment. It has this slightly greenish undertone to it, which works beautifully with the greenery that surrounds the shed. And it's still quite a strong and robust colour without being too heavy. So I really like woodland grey. With wallaby, there's a wonderful softness to it. It's got this kind of warm grey tone, so it sits again really well with our environment. And with gully, this one actually took me by surprise. I didn't expect to like this one so much. I really like the warm grey tone. Again, a slight green undertone. And it also is quite similar to some of the colour choices I've made for the interiors of our home as well. So from these 3 colours, the winner is woodland grey. So Woodland Grey was the winner because I really loved the way it worked with the other design elements and also our environment. So let me show you. Because I mentioned there's going to be that timber design feature element to the shed, I really liked the way Woodland Grey worked with timber. So you can see here, you know, whether or not we have spotted gum or blackbutt, similar to like we did with our interiors, it sits really beautifully against that timber. It's still quite dominant and robust, but it's not too heavy, so they complement each other really well, that timber and the Woodland Grey. And let me just paint a little bit more of a picture. I shall bring the outside in for you. To build up a bit more of our surroundings, we've got lots of red, earthy brown notes, plenty of gum trees. There's also crushed rock as well, blues, greys, a couple of red, rich, earthy notes. I love the way it picks up on these surrounding colours with the rich, earthy browns, the greens, the blues, the charcoals. It is that chameleon colour, so it recedes into the background. So it's still strong and dominant without being overbearing. And that is why Woodland Grey is our feature colour for our shed. If you are considering choosing Colorbond steel for your next project, be sure to choose genuine Colorbond steel. If you are unsure, just visit the website colorbond.com to find your local supplier. A very big thank you to Colorbond Steel for helping to make this episode possible. We will be sharing more of our shed build as well as our cabin exterior, so be sure to follow along.